Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Ah, man. So, I'm not going to start with an opening. It's been it's been some months. It's been like 3 or 4 months since we've gone live, since I've went live. Um and it's been a time. It's been a time in our country. It's been a time in our place. We all know that, for the most part, the country is going to shit. Um, I personally have had to deal with that. I have gotten messages from you guys, everything from "Are you okay?" to people cussing me out for abandoning them. Um, it has been a lot for all of us. I could sit here for hours and catch up on all of the executive orders, all of um, the $400 million jet from Qatar. Maybe this is the first day of me being back. I don't know, right? I have been going through some personal challenges in my life um, that has been affecting me a lot. I have recently lost a source of my income, a big source of my income. So I had to grind and I had to hustle. And that's just me being fully transparent with you all. A lot of the things that are happening in this government are affecting everyday people, and now I can count myself as one of them. Um, so it's been a lot, but I'm a survivor, right? Um, and we all are getting through in our own ways. And so I thank you for joining and for coming and even showing up, because I was like, I don't even know who's going to even come to this. But I said, why not? I got a lot of requests, an influx of requests about a number of things. And if you follow me on Facebook and on Twitter and Blue Sky and all of that, my Instagram, I've been very vocal on those outlets. But to come and discuss it takes a lot, right? And I've missed all of y'all. I see the comments. I missed you guys too. And I'm glad that you're back with me. And I want to say first before we get into the Diddy stuff, because I got the transcripts, y'all. So we get ready to go there. So call whoever you need to call now, cause bitch, it's get ready. We get ready to go in. I got the transcript from Cassie. I got the transcript from the male stripper. Okay, we're going to go over what Diddy's actually being charged for. This is about to be a whole thing. Okay, and I want to say first before we get into that, um, I feel bad to a certain degree, if I'm being honest, coming and returning for this. But as a survivor of sexual assault, this case hits me differently. All of the things that are happening in the world with our country, that hits me, and that's financially affected me in one way or another, with a lot of different things, but a lot of different avenues. But we press through. So I want to say that I'm not plugged in. I am very aware, for those of you who, like I said, follow me on Facebook and all the other things. You know that I think I'm kind of like becoming that person that's keeping you too informed on those outlets. Um, but we are going to discuss this trial. Okay. We are going to discuss this trial. Thank you, Tanya. I've been working on it. Part of people saying I look great. Part of it is stress. Part of it is just being selective about what I eat. Um, some people are saying I froze. Is that true? Um, am I here? Am I clear, everyone? YouTube is saying I'm froze. Can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat or a comment before I start? I don't want to leave anybody. Okay. We're good. Okay, we're good. Okay. So, bitch. The trial, bitch. Puff Daddy be my pal when I he how. Missy could never perform that record again. Ever in life. She can't perform. Like, she just can't. Like, if I got a Puffy record, I can't even perform my shit. Like, all his ad libs and shit, I can't even do them now. I gotta skip over on Lil Kim. How you like it, baby? From the front, from the back, get that ass a smack. Bet your man can't do it like that, can't work the middle, cause the thing too little. I can't even say that no more. I got to skip out a whole part of one of my favorite songs as a teenager because you want to be fucking filthy. Nasty ass. Now, last night, I couldn't even find an answer. That's done. Keisha, that check's gone, bitch. You can't do shit with that now. Okay? Oh, one monkey. So, I got the transcript. So, first of all, because, you know, and I want to say this because I know some of you are, some men are asking out of concern and everything like that. And I don't want to make this an attack on men, right? Because, you know, when men, you know, you bring them to the carpet, especially we seeing that now, they get defensive and then they want to take everybody's rights away. So you got to stroke an ego with a man. I want to say this. Some of you didn't know what the charges were. But just to give you a oversight of what's going on, he's being charged. Puff Daddy is being charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and some other shit. So the charges is real shit. Now, I want to say this before we get into reading Cassie's transcript. I'm trying to wait because I see y'all getting on there. Y'all hopping on there. I want to say this. This is not for me, and I think that the prosecution needs to lean this way. This is not an indictment on someone's sexual kinks. Okay? This is not an indictment on someone's sexual kinks because I've seen people try to spin it and make it seem like that's what this is about. If you want to piss on somebody and y'all both love that shit and y'all are both equally agreeing on that, that's your business. Shout out to Tabitha Brown. If you want to spit in somebody's mouth, whatever you want to do, that's your business. But it needs to be both of y'all business in a consensual way where someone is not being coerced under the influence or being drugged or extorted. Okay? That's what this is about. If you want to do, look, I'm a gay black man in America. I done did some freaky ass shit that I will not disclose on this show. But we both agreed to that shit. And wasn't none of us high when we was doing it. Okay? Now. So. I got the transcript from Cassie. Now, right now, I'm going to tell you now, reading this transcript, I got the transcript from Cassie, and I got the transcript from the stripper, one of the strippers that Diddy was paying. All right? So, y'all want to start with Cassie? I'm going to start with the stripper. Okay? I'm going to start with the stripper. So, the stripper's name was Daniel Phillip, 41-year-old escort called to the witness stand. Okay? So let's read this bitch. Now, and this is coming from Variety. In an extremely graphic testimony that lasted about an hour, Phillip was questioned by lead prosecutor Maureen Comey about his sexual encounters with Combs and his then girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura from around 2012 to 2014. According to Phillip, he was paid between $700 and $6,000 on several occasions to have sex with Ventura, as Combs watched and masturbated. Now, I want to be clear, ain't shit wrong with a cuckold. It's a lot of motherfuckers who hire men to come fuck their wives and watch. That is not uncommon. For those of you who have never heard of that, check out, it's a whole world out there. That's not illegal. That's not illegal. On more than one occasion, he witnessed Combs physically abusing Ventura, and in one instance, he was given the drug MDMA. Now, that illegal, okay? Because I feel like that's going to have to be a thing as we read through this. Getting somebody to fuck your wife, fuck your girlfriend while you watch and do your little freaky deakies, not illegal. Beating a bitch ass and drugging the escort, illegal. Okay? Is everybody on the same page? All right? Now, Phillip was first pulled into Combs' orbit when he was working as the manager of a male revue show in Manhattan around 2012. One night, his boss asked if he could go to the Gramercy Park Hotel for a bachelorette party because none of his dancers were available. Phillip believed he would arrive at the hotel and perform a striptease for a group of women. Instead, bitch, Ventura opened the door to her hotel room and asked if he was okay engaging with just her. Okay? As Phillip remembers it, Ventura was wearing lingerie, high heels, and sunglasses, and she told him it was her birthday and her husband arranged a special gift for her. She immediately handed him a few $1,000s. Combs was in the room too. Ventura asked Phillips to rub baby oil on her and massage her, and she assured him that Combs was not gay and would not touch him. So let's pause here, bitch. Let's pause here. So this is a straight male escort. Cassie opened the door. You know, she got a body that won't quit at that time. Wearing lingerie, glasses, and knee-highs, bitch, talking about my husband got me a gift. Puffy sitting in the corner with a bandana on his face. And he want to watch while he jerk off. Once again, so far, not illegal. Now, the prostitution part, that might be illegal. Okay? That might be illegal. But I digress. Phillip did not immediately recognize Combs as he was clad in a white robe with a bandana covering his face from his nose down. As Phillip, now this is where it gets busy. Now why you didn't have an NDA? Because you knew what you was doing wasn't right. As Phillip and Ventura touched each other and eventually began having intercourse, Combs sat in a chair in the corner of the hotel room masturbating. At one point, Phillips realized who the man was when Combs spoke, and he recognized his voice. Because, bitch, you can never, that's a boy, you can't confuse that voice, bitch. You can't, that's the king of the ad-libs, okay? After a short time, Ventura handed Phillip another few $1,000s in cash and sent him on his way. She took his phone number. A few minutes after he left the hotel, Phillip received a text message from Ventura asking him to send a picture of his penis and to come back up to the room. He obliged, and for another few hours, bitch, they rubbed baby oil on each other and had sex as Combs masturbated. Phillip would continue to engage in sexual relations with Ventura and Combs at hotels across Manhattan and at each of their private residences in the city. Sometimes Phillip would send Ventura vulgar texts like, I want to fuck you right now. And sometimes he would text to ask if she was good. He cannot recall Ventura ever responded to the text because, bitch, you're going against the rules, bitch. They call you. You don't call them. Okay? You don't just be all up on Puffy's phone asking his bitch if she trying to fuck. But you know your role, bitch. But I digress. Phillips said each time he met with Ventura and Combs, there were candles and bottles of baby oil and Astroglide lubricant on the table. On one occasion, Combs directed Phillip and Ventura through a role-playing exercise. We were not very good at that at all, Phillips said. Combs would often tell Phillip and Ventura to rub more baby oil on each other, and he would instruct Phillip where and when to ejaculate. He was always sitting in the corner masturbating. Philip said of Combs, though he added that on occasion, Combs would switch places with him to engage in sexual intercourse with Ventura. On one occasion, Ventura asked him to urinate on her. Rarely did they use condoms. So not only are you doing freaky shit, which is not against the law, but you got this lady out here fucking these men raw. Now, I know a sexual, intercourse disease can affect a man and a woman. But I'm going to say this, and I'm not a woman, I'm a man, right? But your pH on your vajayjay, all of that stuff going in that place, no wonder this lady had yeast infections out the ass. No condoms, and y'all just going at it. And when you are on drugs, that hinders your senses and your good sense. So you're not having a good sense to do that, right? To wear protection. Phillips said these encounters would last anywhere from 1 to 10 hours. I know she was sore, bitch. She got to be sore. After he would have sex with Ventura, she would go into the bedroom with Combs and leave Phillip waiting outside on a couch for hours. Sometimes they would come back out and tell him to leave, and other times they would bring him back into the bedroom for another round of intercourse. Phillip said Combs videotaped him having sex with Ventura once or twice on his cell phone and camcorder. One time, Phillip pretended to come after Combs instructed him to ejaculate inside Ventura. After Combs brought Ventura into the bedroom, he repeatedly questioned Phillip if he was sure he was finished. So let's think about this. Let's think about if he is saying, are you sure you finished? That means he was looking in that lady's vagina. And I'm sorry to get, explicit. But y'all, he was looking in that lady's vagina or putting his face in it to see if he actually came. And if he didn't find a nice surprise, he was probably mad. This is some wild shit. Okay? This is some wild shit. Wild shit. Their interactions became more intense after Combs took a photograph of Phillip's driver's license and said it was just for insurance, just in case. On one instance, Combs allegedly offered Phillip MDMA or Molly, which made Phillip feel physically sick and nauseous, but also euphoric. Phillip left that night with a wad of cash and, still under the influence, began roaming the city. I went into the middle of Times Square and handed out every single dollar he gave me. At a certain point, Phillip said he began witnessing Combs physically abusing Ventura. One time, he saw Combs throw a glass bottle in Ventura's direction, then hit her and drag her by her hair into another room. She was screaming and he pulled her into the bedroom. I could hear what sounded like him slapping her. She was screaming, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Phillip said, Combs said to Ventura, "Bitch, when I tell you to come, you come now, not later." I was shocked. It came out of nowhere. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. When asked why he didn't intervene or call the police, he said, in my mind, if I tried to do something, I might lose my life, which we know from Puffy blowing up Kid Coodie's car that's not far-fetched. My thoughts were, Combs was someone with unlimited power. My life was at risk. Phillip said Combs would attempt to resume sexual activities directly after the alleged domestic violence. After he started witnessing the abuse, Phillip had difficulty staying hard in the presence of Combs. Once or twice, Combs gave him Cialis, which treats erectile dysfunction. Phillip said that on occasions in which he could not sexually perform, he was sometimes not paid. Phillip detailed another incident at the Jeremiah Essex House Hotel where he heard screaming and slapping noises from behind the bedroom door. Combs then vacated the hotel, leaving Philip with Ventura alone. According to Philip, Ventura jumped into his lap and began crying and kissing him, which she had not done during their previous encounters. Phillips asked why she was staying in an abusive relationship, and she insisted it was okay. The two of them began having sex, and Philip did not have trouble performing. While they had intercourse, they noticed Combs sneaking back into the room to watch. Uh, baby, baby, this is big. And mind you, we getting ready to get into Cassie's testimony. This is busy. Now, anytime you know shit is bad when it's so bad the prostitute say I can't even get hard to do this. You know it's bad. That means it had to be an energy in there that was unlike any other. Okay? Now, Cassie. I got her testimony, and I'm going to be honest with you. Her testimony is going to be a little bit difficult for me to read. Because it's terrible. But I think for people who, well, why did she stay? Or she was in on it too. If you have a daughter, if you have a young woman in your life, or if you have known any person that has survived domestic abuse, you wouldn't be asking that question. Okay? I have all of Cassie's transcript pretty much. So I'm going to start from the top, and I'm just going to read it. So this was from day one. The first day of Ventura's testimony got off to an explosive start as she described the freak-offs in graphic detail, including one alleged instance where a male escort urinated in her mouth at Combs' request. Within the first year of our relationship, Sean proposed to me this idea. The sexual encounter that he called voyeurism, where he watched me in sexual activity with a third party, specifically another man, she said. It entails the hiring of an escort and setting up this experience so that I could perform for Sean. It involves Sean being able to watch me with the other person and actually direct us on what we were doing sexually. One of Combs' particularly sick requests, Ventura alleged, was to have a male escort urinate on her and in her mouth during freak-offs. Sometimes he himself... Sorry, I got lost. Sometimes he himself or Combs or he would have the escort urinate on me. There was no conversation. It was a turn on for him, so it happened. When asked if she wanted to do this, she said a firm no, describing it as humiliating as anyone was there to see it. It was disgusting. It was too much, overwhelming. In an indication of the procedure, she said she was choked and I was laid on the floor in a position I couldn't easily get out of. Asked if she was able to ask the escort to stop, she replied, I put my hands up and Sean saw and told him to stop. Only thing I could do laying on the floor. Too much urine in my mouth. Did you want Sean to urinate on you? I didn't want anybody to urinate on me. I was squeamish immediately and high and in the moment with this man, so that's what happened. Throughout her testimony, Ventura says she did not actively want to participate in the freak offs, and her first time was no different. I remember my stomach falling to my butt, the singer said. The nervousness and confusion at the moment, I had just turned 22. I didn't have a concept of how that would be a turn on, but I also felt a sense of responsibility with him sharing something like that with me. I was confused, nervous, but also loved him very much and wanted to make him happy. So let's pause here. Let's pause here. I want to put into context here because this is why you come to me. This is why we do this, right? At 22, most 22-year-olds who have not been exposed to a lot of sexual activity, porn, and things like that. And we got to think, this is a 22-year-old in the early 2000s. So the access to porn, the access to knowledge that exists now did not exist then. So it is not far-fetched to believe that some of the stuff she had not been exposed to at 22, right? And let's be real here. For some people, as you get older, and I myself can attest to this, your sexual appetite changes. It matures. It grows. You get into different things. You learn more about your body. At 22, I doubt your experience is that extensive unless you've been having sexual encounters in your teens, and in which case I have questions, right? So we have to think about that. We have to think about that, right? First sex act, masturbating and looking at each other. I would be looking at the escort and they would be looking at me. I would describe what I saw in detail. This is what turned Combs on, his fantasy. It was always awkward. Sitting describing someone's penis to another male was pretty awkward and humiliating, but eventually it became normal. It would lead to intercourse. Ventura says sometimes both the escort and Combs would have sex with each other. Other times the fallen mogul would just watch. I'm sorry, her and the escort would have sex with her. She added, I was having intercourse with an escort. Sean would walk up and Sean would walk up and have me give him oral sex. Asked if the escorts ejaculated, the star witness replied, yes, usually when it was okay for them per Sean. But if they did, then Sean and I would go into the next room and he want me to put the semen on his body, usually on his chest, on his nipples. I'm going to pause here. Kinky as hell, but not illegal. Okay? This is some OnlyFans porn company shit that he was basically doing like a live porn film. But that's not illegal. Once again, the kinks are not illegal. It is when you drug people without their knowledge, physically abuse them, you're paying prostitutes. That's where it's illegal. Okay? During one session, Diddy choreographed Ventura get into a pool of baby oil at a hotel in Beverly Hills and a full outfit purchased from a sex shop in Hills. She said she did not want to do it, especially in a hotel room, but that she couldn't say no because it would have been all bad. Ventura described how the alleged sessions were fueled by a cocktail of booze and drugs. They became almost weekly. It became, depending on where we were, weekly for a consistent amount of years, she said. The drugs honestly helped. Ecstasy and Molly. We started to other drugs like cocaine later on. The alleged abuse was just not sexual, but physical and psychological too. At certain times, I knew it wasn't even about me. This next thing I was getting hit in the face, the singer testified. If I wasn't smiling at him the way he wanted, I just looked a certain way he didn't like, maybe I was a brat or something. He would let me know I need to fix my face or watch my mouth. Psychological was every day. Not know what he was going to be when he woke up that day was a lot. Someone constantly telling you who to be. Ventura also began testimony about now the infamous assault by Combs at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. That's the one we all saw. The video broke on all the news outlets where he was kicking her and everything in the hallway. I'm not sure what happened. I got hit by Sean and he had a black eye, and at that point, all I could think about was getting out of there safely. I had my premiere and didn't want to mess it up. Day two. That was day one. Day two. Ventura resumed her testimony about the 2016 attack. There was a vase with flowers in it, the singer testified. I remember it coming towards me. I didn't get hit. I remember it hitting the wall. He was yelling at me and threw it at me. As the video played, Ventura was seen biting a lip and taking deep breaths while sipping on water. The court was also shown images of Ventura with a black eye and a busted lip in the aftermath. She told the court her friend Carrie Morgan called the cops after seeing the state she was in, prompting a flurry of angry texts from Combs. I have a premiere for the biggest thing I've ever done in my life on Monday. You are sick for thinking it's okay to do what you've done. Please stay away from me. The rapper then replied, stating he was about to be arrested and encouraged her to answer his frenzied calls. If you don't pick up, you'll never hear my voice again, one message read. Damn, I'd never ignore your calls. But when the police arrived, Ventura testified she was too afraid to talk to them. I answered a couple of questions, but when they wanted me to say who I was talking about, I wouldn't say, so they left. In that moment, I didn't want to hurt them that way. Just too much going on. She should have said something then. She should have said something then, but I get it. Early in the testimony, Ventura described how she stopped fighting back during the alleged assaults at the risk of angering Combs further. I learned it could escalate the fight more and make it worse for myself, she said. Sometimes I would slow him down and he would stop, but other times it would make him more violent, make him stronger, want to push me harder. When Sean came in, Ventura described another altercation where she was left with a deep gash that required surgical treatment after allegedly being attacked by Combs after he found her asleep on the sofa. When Sean came in, I was asleep and it was a commotion. Dante and Mia, her friends, jumped on Sean's back because he was trying to attack me. We ended up in the living room, from the living room into the master bedroom. They were still jumping on his back. When he threw me down, I cut my eyebrow on the corner of the bed. It was a Sunday, so nothing was open. Sean had security bring me to a plastic surgeon's office to suture it. She claimed that Combs then forced her to go to the Hamptons, where another freak-off took place with an escort named Dave. At the time, we were taking GHB. On G, you can go into a G hole, and I blacked out. I woke up nude in the shower, and Dave and Sean were freaking out outside of the bath. So let's pause here. GHB is a dangerous drug. Okay? When I got sexually assaulted, I was drugged with GHB. GHB causes it makes your heart slow. It makes you feel really weird. You fall out. That G-hole she talking about, that shit is fucking real. And that shit can kill you. And everybody don't make it out of it. It's scary as fuck. And it's not an experience I would want anybody to have to take. What this young lady is saying, that part specifically, I've been there. So you can't tell me, oh, she was just, why she stayed and all this shit and, she wanted to do it. Nah, G. That G-hole shit, that shit is real. Okay? That shit is real. It's not for the faint of heart. Motherfuckers die from that shit. She described how Combs encouraged her to recruit the men. Who reached out to the escorts? Prosecutor Emily Ann Johnson asked. Me, based on who Sean is, I didn't want to put him in that position. It was expected of me. The singer also was questioned further about drug use during the freak-offs. Text was shown to the jury where Combs appeared to ask Ventura not to use ketamine, known as K, as it would slow the experience down. We have to have a proper freak-off without no K. I need to get it out my head. I hate K. So you let me know when, the message says. What was Sean saying about Kay? Johnson asked Ventura. That it took time out of the freak off, she replied. It was my preferred drug because it was very disassociative, and you can go into something called a K hole when you're not present in the moment. You're just high and not doing any actions. So she was using that to escape. And he wouldn't even let her do that. Okay? Ventura told Ventura told the court that Combs' requests for freak-offs were relentless and even led to him derailing plans he had made for her 29th birthday. I wanted to go to this club called Blind Dragon and do karaoke with my friends, Ventura said. After dinner, we were starting to head towards that way, but Sean let me know he wanted to have a freak-off. I told him I wanted to stay out and celebrate with my friends. I just didn't want to have the burden of doing that at the end of the night. He pulled me out so many times I gave up and went and had a freak off. Ventura testified that Combs then used videos of the orgies to blackmail her into performing more. When was Sean mentioned these types of videos, Johnson asked. When he was angry about something or really wanted me to fear. When he was upset about something, it was a pretty common thing. One time I dated someone else, and that was what it was all about. I'm going to put out 2 embarrassing videos of you. He just wanted to hurt me. What did he say? Johnson asked again. That he was going to release them and embarrass me, put my career in jeopardy, Ventura responded. That he would be mad enough to put them out, and then I would have to answer to my mother. I feared for my career. I feared for my family. Just embarrassing, and it's horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone. What did Sean say to you about the impact? That it could ruin everything that I worked for and make me look like a slut. She recounted an incident following the Cannes Film Festival where Combs allegedly kicked her off a yacht and withheld her possessions, including her passport. She alleges that he then blackmailed her with videos on the way back to New York. We hadn't spoken since the incident he kicked me off the boat. While sitting together, he would grab my leg and squeeze my thighs as tightly as he could. I was wearing a beaded dress, so it was really painful. We flew on a commercial flight to New York. I had a seat that I traded with someone else. I didn't want to sit next to Sean, and he switched with that person, and we ended up riding together. He pulled up videos, freak-off videos. I thought I deleted them. He was playing them for me on a flight back to New York. Ventura also provided graphic detail about the physical toll the freak-offs took on her body. I had a lot of stomach issues, gastrointestinal issues from taking drugs, she told the court. I get frequent UTIs. If you've ever had one, you know how painful that is. When we were having frequent freak-offs, sometimes they were back-to-back. I couldn't get rid of it, and I was doing a freak-off with an infection. Cipro, which is an antibiotic, didn't even work anymore. It was just a mess, really painful. So this lady he had her fucking so much. She's getting UTIs. And she's getting so many damn UTIs. And you know, with antibiotics, if you use them too much, they stop working. So she must have been using Cipro so fucking much that the shit just stopped working. Come on, man. You're on a plane antagonizing this girl, playing videos back to back to back to back. This is crazy. And there's no excuse for it. As men, we cannot excuse, oh, but why she say all this? You're a man. Life is different for you. Your current political climate should tell you that. When you have a woman screwing so much, getting UTIs, sexual diseases, to the point where the medication used to treat those things stopped fucking working. No wonder her husband walked out the goddamn courtroom. I know he loved her, and I know she probably already told him all of this shit, but as a man, okay? And I'm a gay man, but I'm a man first. I wouldn't that hit me as a man to have to sit and hear my wife say this shit out her mouth and out her business is out on the street like this. But she gotta do it because this motherfucker got to go down. Occasionally, I get sores on my tongue from freak offs, from the substances, and just friction in my mouth. From oral sex, also from having my mouth on things, oil, Astroglide, lubricants. Ventura called the exhaustion she felt after each sex session. I felt so tired, achy, really dehydrated because you're up for so long, not really eating so much. Just empty, she added to her emotional state afterwards. Especially if we didn't continue. I didn't stay with him, she said. She described an alleged attack by Combs after following a night at a LA nightclub, which was so severe it left her in hiding for a week. I'm going to read this last section and then we're going to call it a day, because what I'm not going to do is relive the. I'm already doing it, but I'm not going to, if you want to read the rest of it, you can. Um, I'm doing this on my platform. Yes, people ask me my thoughts on it, but I wanted to give a male voice in my context as a sexual assault survivor to this transcript. Because sometimes we can see highlights and brush it off, or depending on who's presenting it, we can dismiss it. But that's not what this is about. So I'm going to read this last incident and then I'm going to be done. Ventura said the altercation began after he called her a slut or a bitch and she drunkenly punched him in the back of his car. His whole demeanor just switched over, she said. His eyes went black. We were in an Escalade, but the two sitting in the middle. We had a friend following us back to the house. After I punched him, he attacked me. I was under the back seat trying to cover my face. Sean was stomping on it with his foot. The ride back to the house was short, but the whole ride was a fight until we got there, probably 10 minutes up the hill. I never experienced anything like that, where I was getting really, really badly beaten. The car was going back to Sean's house he was renting. I took off running and started running down the street. Security caught up with me and I was brought back to the house. So the workers was in on it. The workers was in on it. So bring their ass to court too. So when she ran away, so for all of y'all who women in charges, when she ran away from him and he sent security to go get her and bring her back, guess what that is? That's kidnapping, niece. That's illegal. That's kidnapping or even false imprisonment. You need to know what the charges are now. I finally saw my face. Just didn't look like myself. Just knots and bleeding. I think I was vomiting when he came in. The person he switched over to was now gone and freaking out at the sight of it. She described how she then fled to the London hotel to recuperate from her injuries. I understood Sean's capabilities, his access to guns, the threats he made prior to that. I was privy, Ventura said. She recalled another alleged incident following a party at Prince's house, which ended in a fight. Now, how did Prince get in it? Okay, but whatever. He beat me up. He was throwing luggage at me, calling me all kinds of names. Combs also became violent after he discovered that Ventura was dating rapper Scott Mescudi, alias Kid Cudi, she alleged. I remember him pulling a wine bottle opener between his fingers and lunging it at me, she testifies. Eyes blacked out, super angry, and I got out of there. She fled to Mescudi's house, but eventually returned to Combs so they can talk. When I was leaving, he kicked me in my back on the way out, so I had a big bruise on my back. I fell to the floor and left. I had bruises in other places on my body. I remember that one because he kicked me with the bottom of his foot in my back. But his fury did not end there. Ventura testified that she alleged Combs threatened to blow up Mescudi's car. He mentioned that when we were out of the country that Scott's car would be blown up. She said she eventually decided to break up with Mescudi over fears for both their safety. Ventura told the court about other alleged violent incidents in Jamaica and at an after party at Combs' house in September. I was talking to a manager and Sean trapped me and told me to come to the next room and he beat me up in that room. He punched me, kicked me. I was trying to run away. I remember going into the toilet and I ended up under the toilet trying to cover myself. He was trying to kick me. She claimed Combs told her to put on more makeup to hide her injuries from his son. His son shouldn't see me like that. I should put more makeup on, Ventura said. He can't see the bruises on your face, she alleged. The singer became emotional as she described how Combs raped her following the end of their relationship. And that's all I'm going to do for that. Um, this is a lot. And here's the thing. Once again, I think a lot of people, this is my take on it. A lot of people are caught up in the sex part of it and the kinks. The kinks. Once again, being kinky, being sexually nasty is not against the law. Drugging, kidnapping, beating people, paying for sex workers, paying to transport people to have sex. Like, it's so crazy because when we think about sex trafficking, us as the general public, we thinking about you kidnapping some poor person and throwing them in a van and then you make them be a prostitute. And that is sex trafficking. But that's not the only definition of sex trafficking, niece. When you take people from one place to another against their will or when they're not really feeling it and make them have sex with other people, drug them, that's sex trafficking. So that is a sex trafficking charge. When that lady tried to run from him after they got out their car and he sent the security guards to go get her, that's kidnapping. And guess what? Those two security guards can probably be brought to charge. So while we have to think about these charges in a legal lens, not in a what we think it should be lens, but in a what is the law lens. Okay? In a what is the law lens, he in trouble. And you know, there's some people saying the prosecution, they ain't doing a good job. He probably gonna get off. All of those charges may not stick. But you not Donald Trump, Puff Daddy. Something gonna stick. And that's the bottom line. So, and we'll look into Rico I don't have the definition of RICO, and I ain't gonna make one up. But the sex trafficking, the drugs, the prostitutes, physical abuse, domestic violence, she got a case here, buddy. So that's what it is. It's been great being live with y'all today and discussing this. It's a return to form. I know I've been gone for a while. Life has been lifing for me. If you want to donate to the channel, you can via super chat. Thanks for my super chat. Shout out to Tyler McDowell and Tori in New York. I appreciate you for the super chats. You can also donate to the channel at Dapper Dan Midas on Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all of it. But thank y'all for tuning in. I guess we're back now. Are we back now? Um, I'll try to do at least once a week. And because we got a lot, we got a lot to talk about with our rights and what's going on, and how the Democratic Party needs to really get it together. But that's another story for another day. I hope that you guys have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love.